Well, we're live with kind of a technical warning in the background. Are you here, Alden? I'm Ken Alden. Welcome to Anytime with Ken Alden.
I am here. I am still Alden. I didn't see anything going wrong in the backstage area, so on my end, we're fine.
There's no data detected while recording locally for one of Alden's feeds. Please ask the user to refresh the page if this problem persists. Oh,
and yet here we are speaking to each other. So I'm going to refresh and do what the robot says, and then I'll be back in a second.
All right, there we go. While he does that, I'll let you know this is Anytime with Ken Alden. We usually come to you live here on a Friday, or sometimes you might be listening later. You can still catch the audio feed over the Napsuck network. And then, as you know, it's been the journey of Alden's technical and it's just been StreamYard, I think, being weird with us, but you're back and the warning's gone.
Yes. Warning is gone. It's a whole thing. It's like we figured out that it's memory. Then we figured out, well, you actually can just, fix the problem by refreshing. So then how much of a memory issue is it really? We've been cleaning our disks and blowing on our everything, and that can sound however you want it to sound. But we're here.
It does. Yes. And to some of the questions in chat, we refresh before every episode. We refresh during the episodes.
Yep.
It just drifts. Anyways, while we're here.
When we connected today, there was a delay of 20 seconds, and now it's fixed, and who knows? Anyway.
Who knows?
We're here.
If you'd like to help support the show so that you can help us build a studio in the middle of America where Alden and I can meet every Friday. Don't just fly out.
Yeah. Well, we're going to need to meet in one of the, I guess, sanctioned DMZs between, whatever we're about to see on the other end of the next couple of years. Because not looking great, Bob. Not great. There's, the executive talk of the election takeovers. There's the increasing balkanization of the states as South Carolina nears 1,000 measles cases. They are looking for help outside the CDC, which luckily for them is already available because some states have formed their own health collectives. A union. How a union does things. So,
look, man,
get us a studio in one of them yellow states. One of them beige states that ain't declared.
They declared an undeclared state. Today I know I'm wearing a hat, but the lighting's been extra dark in here this week. And I've done nothing different. This is the problem with technology, Alden, and a guy like me who's the dumb guy at the end of the bar. I've done nothing different. You have done nothing different on your side. And then when the technical problems started happening, it was like, well, what? It's hard to troubleshoot. My lighting's dark, and I know I have a hat, but it doesn't always work like that.
I know, man. I mean, last night I did over 2 hours of RPG stuff that was recorded, zero issue. Then we come on here to try to help people. We try to help people, especially men, and they silence us, and they put you out of focus, and they mess with your visuals. Anyway.
Yeah, so today's episode, I actually really don't know I know kind of what we're talking about, but you sent this over as a suggestion, and I'm on a very interesting and important therapy journey, my second one of my life. And then you were like, I have something to say about not my journey, but therapy in general. So today's episode is Go to Therapy Guys. We put guys can be sometimes gender neutral. Hey, guys, I get that. But I think we're trying to reach to those dudes. Hey, dudes.
Yeah, I do mean it as a general guys.
But I want to say that's not, anyone can enjoy this conversation.
Absolutely. We mean it as the general neutral guys. However, if it happens to hit a guy and they think it's for them, that's good. Good. I'll take it. So yeah, this is an interesting one. So it just so happens Well, I mean, look, actually, you want background in the background. We're both in therapy, blah, blah, blah. Or we both have been in and out for years. Ken is right now. I'm on a bit of a break, but it's not like by choice. It's an insurance, like many Americans.
Right.
I would love to be in therapy every day, but as of right now, it's been a bit for me. You're back in, my family members, a lot of them go. I don't know about you, if that was, you were the first to go, and you're Ken's like, I wish it wasn't the case.
But you don't need to go to therapy when God's on your side.
Oh, you're so right. Oh, I'm sure that's going to be coming up a lot. I'm sure that's going to be coming up a lot in this. Not just with you, not just with my family being a bunch of Catholics, but also lots of frequent listeners and viewers of the show have experiences with that. So, but yeah, so it's always something that we talk about. We're very open about it. And then as of late, over on our other show, Casually Talk, men's mental health's been coming up a lot with the story of Dunk and Egg. Everybody can go check that out, catch up on the season. We would love to have you over there too. And it's been coming up there. It's been coming up when you and I talk. And then what pushed me over was that my mother and I were just talking about the state of the world. And I said to her these words. I said, sometimes it's hard, I think, for people in my age generation, my age bracket, to know, should we seek out, that stuff, the therapy, and sink money into that and sink time into that so that we can hopefully heal enough to chase the things we want to chase and fight the battles we want to fight? Or should we put our heads down, thug it out, fight the battles now so that we can get to the other side and then take care of ourselves in peace? And I know it's not really that binary, but that is something that I think about. And so I'm just throwing that to her. And she said something to me that she's never said. My mom's been in therapy for a long time and has had good experiences with it, and said that she semi-recently dropped the therapist that she had, even though she liked her, because she tried to vent to the therapist about the world and make it less about what happened to me when I was a kid and more like I'm freaked out by X. And her therapist was like, I don't really keep up with that stuff. I don't have a TV. I have to unplug. I have so many clients. Like, I don't look at any of that. I'd rather, take it year by year. Let's stick to our plan. Let's go back to when you were a teenager. Like, we don't need to lose focus. My mom was like, I'm freaking out right now. And she goes, I just don't really know about that story that you're talking about. And my mom was like, are you like, are you useless for the now? And I had to tell her there are different kinds of therapy. And even though one can be a nice lady, it doesn't mean she's going to have the method that you like. And so we talked about it. But it just got me to thinking about therapy in this time, how they don't understand, the moment sometimes, how they're people too. And so that was the thought that I just thought was interesting, that instead of just dumping all of it in text, I would throw to you a good therapist who also doesn't meet the moment. I thought it was fascinating. And so that's my starting.
That's the starting point. Yeah, I guess I've been fortunate not to experience that in my current situation and in the past situation. I could see that being a problem maybe in the last one, but no, I don't think I think that would not jive well with, I don't talk a lot about the world in my sessions because that's not necessarily what I'm there for. So I have a podcast. But a lot of it does. Yeah, a lot of what's going on, including my own financial and professional situation, is related to the world. So yes, it's all there, and it's an important part of the conversation. So yeah, I think finding the right therapist is the important thing. I've been blessed. I wasn't even supposed to have this one I have now. I got an appointment, and it was another person, and then something got messed up in the system, and I showed up for the appointment, and like no one was there online, and they were like, "We're so sorry, you fell through our calendar. Go over here." And this lady that I work with now has just been perfection for me. So I don't know if that's proof that there's a God, but this was supposed to happen.
Well, if there's proof that there's a God, then this is a God who's pro-therapy, not a God who's anti-therapy.
It's funny you say that. I have a website up. This is for my session of 100 Bible verses about the importance of seeking counsel.
Ooh.
And then my therapist helped me. We were discussing this in the session. Proverbs, Psalms, James, Proverbs, James, Ecclesiastes, Matthew, just 100 verses of, it's good because it is a thing, having grown up in the system. No one was like therapy bad. It's just like, you're going to go to some secular person to get advice and everything when you could pray it away, so to speak. That was kind of, and I'm breaking it down, and not every pastor is probably like that. Not every Christian or religious person is like that. I want to make sure I'm speaking in generalities, but I was
Yeah.
And I was encouraged to go to school counseling when my depression really, my mom and dad did send me to one, so I want to give them credit for that publicly. But the first session was actually at a school counselor, and I was like 17, right? Yeah. And I didn't want to go. But yeah, there's kind of that. Even now, I deal with it. I don't talk about the details of therapy with family, but like those on that side of the aisle, so to speak, there's just kind of this. They're very dubious about that meds. I just today, by the way, throw up a little balloon. I took my first med today, Alden. I started my meds today for my brain this morning over a cottage cheese breakfast.
Well, I don't know about all the cottage cheese stuff. That's your journey. But the med stuff, I will say, congratulations. It sounds like a silly thing to say, but really, congratulations, because it's such a stigmatized, like, that people want to fear monger so badly about it that it does take a leap. But it, it helped me, so I can only speak for myself. And people in the comments sounding off as well. Alan Smithy 9227. I practice weed therapy. It's not going to happen, Alan Smithy. I've tried. It's not going to happen. He's not going to do it. It's not. It's not going to happen.
Me. I'm
not saying it's impossible, but like it's going to need to be like after the 50th anniversary of New Hope, middle of the night tacos. That's going to be the only way.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you off air. There's a pathway to Ken going one toke over the line, sweet Jesus. There's a pathway to it.
And I will be there for whatever.
I don't think you will.
This guy. So that observation, and you said so much good stuff there about it's not necessarily like God hates therapy. It's not hellfire and brimstone so much as they're almost confused. They're almost like, why wouldn't you go to the people that we have already? You're supposed to, like you're supposed to speak to Father such and such. For us, it was an Irish guy who talked about football a lot. That was our chattiest priest. So it's just that thought did send me swimming down of like, can a therapist be nice and also wrong? Can a therapist be a dick but also really right? Like, I'm sure there's a mixture of all of those. You don't have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about, but in terms of just like the tone, like, would you say that your therapy sessions are like funny? Because I had some laughter with the therapist that I liked the most.
Oh yeah, I entertained the hell out of her. Absolutely. She was like, you are naturally funny. I was like, damn straight. No.
You're like, can I use that as a pull quote?
Yeah. No. In my first therapy, and by the way, we're getting some great comments and questions. Jared the Dark Jedi is being wonderfully vulnerable and honest in some of his thoughts about things. So please post it here. We'll favorite them. Well, I will, because Alden's no longer admin because of the tech issues. But we'll bring it in. So if you see anything, buddy, let me know. Let's talk about it. Open forum today. And I think it's important to have a day. This is a mental health day for us here, because I do think there is, with the stuff going on with the world. And by the way, that's never going to stop, right? It's just heightened right now. We're very aware of it. Being mentally strong, or as best you can to get through this world, is part of what's going on with me. Jared the Tide Pilot, my therapist is sweet yet fucking blunt, calls me out of my bullshit. That can work too. I started my therapy journey in the late 2000s because I tried to YouTube word redact myself, and my friend's dad was a therapist. And my friend's dad said, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., my office, you start your sessions, no questions asked, and no charge. I was blessed. Spent 4 years with him. So it was a weird situation in the sense of he was my best friend's dad, and it was more like a backup dad who was trained. And
sure. That's why I had you.
But it was therapy, and it was 4 years every Monday at 10 a.m. Yeah. And he was warm, he was soft, he was understanding, he was strong, but he was strong about things around me and things that had happened to me, and never angry at me. But I could, but I also showed progress. And I'm sure if I didn't show progress, I'm a good Whittle student. I'm sure I would have needed some of what Jared's talking about.
Whatever happened to that guy? If you don't mind me asking.
We're still. I mean, my friend and I had a bit of a falling out in 2020 over the world, our view of it, and our view of Jon Snow and the Battle of the Bastards actually started our fight. That ended
it's
our
that
friendship.
friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know,
I know that story separately from an identity.
But he and I are back together again, and as friends, and not in the same maybe level as before. But yeah, his dad is still around. Went through some of his own stuff. Therapists are people too, so we haven't talked directly. And he's going through something. He's published a lot of books and everything, and is a Christian-based therapist, which was weird because then my family was kind of against me going to therapy at all. And I'm like, well, but this guy, like, he has Bibles at his office. Like, what do you want? Like, what do you want from me? But he's going through a thing where the last few years, I would say, has challenged his beliefs, and he's trying to fight from the inside, if you know what I mean.
Just a side question, and then we'll go to some comments. We'll bounce around. This is gonna be really loose. Probably gonna be a shorter episode. I
got some hot tea I gotta give Alden.
We have to do some goss, and then we have to talk about Star Wars. We're very busy and important lives that we're living here. There are side storylines.
Yes, at a live Force Center today. You're gonna hopefully get a chance to pop on. I should con Molly or Alex to pop on for this mentor. I'm by myself today, so. Anyways, I'm good with the med. Yeah, Ethan's great. Whatever you do, if the meds start working, you're feeling better, don't stop taking them. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll share. My therapist doesn't think I will be on meds long term, because of the work I've done. I cannot explain. For those that have followed me in my journey for the last 10, 12, 15 years, if you jumped on in the early schmoes days, I've always been open and honest, and I've had a lot of struggles, right? And I've never felt stronger. Not happy. Happy to me is kind of temporary. I'm talking. I've never felt. The last 2 weeks, I turned corners. There was a couple of moments where things crystallized for me, and gave me a lot of confidence to be right where I'm at. And the meds are just doing something I've never done before, which is meds, literally, but also committing to something that might have long-term effect. I always want to get better. I always try to get better. I do 3 weeks of working out and eating right. And that fourth week, I'm face first at a pizza, donut, and a spaghetti dinner. And then I don't pick the weights back up for 4 weeks. And I was like, I want to be that person that you see later on that goes, and you look at him and go, wow, you changed your life.
Yeah.
As opposed to just got through the next phase. And so I'm kind of changing my life right now. And that feels good. And that's only been through therapy. So we'll see with the meds. The meds just might be a bonus.
Well, you're I think a tangible, just knowing about like your career paths, your multiple careers, and your life and what you respond to. Like, you're a very, I think, tangible moves person. I think there's a lot of like intangible, thought-based, hypothetical, or like spiritual. Like, that's all good. But I also think eventually you're the type of person that does need to like go for a walk. Eventually, like, go feed the squirrels. Go blah blah blah. Like. And I think that there's something physical and like real and like numerical about I took one today. And that is, whether it's a 30 count or a 60 count, whatever, like, I know I just did this percent of the thing of the work, in the same way that you can count miles, in the same way that you can. And I think sometimes, people respond to that. And I think it probably checks a box for you, just as somebody that knows like procedures and facts. And so I think there's something that tickles there because there's a looseness sometimes that I don't respond to, just about, care in general. And that is, I'm not trying to make fun of like a certain type of person, but there is a tone online that is very like, just wake up and choose happiness, just do. And I'm like, okay, that's too loose. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like that feels like vapor. Like, what is that?
So I want to jump in on that, and because this is also something that was based in, and if you're willing to share some of our, not details, but some of our conversation. Also, Addie says, thanks, Aspirational Ken. Thanks for sharing that as someone who's struggling in that area of taking good physical care. So I know Addie messed up and meant that's aspirational, which she corrected in the next sentence. But I like the idea that Aspirational Ken is some grounding character I created.
Yeah, Aspirational Ken is a new thing in and of itself.
Yeah, and again, if you're just jumping on, some folks are jumping in. We're having a general conversation about therapy, a little mental health, and I think that's important in the face of the world. So if you got something specific, question, comment, thought on your own experiences or things, let's get to it. But I want to jump on what you said there about the hey, choose happiness and everything like that, because I'm with you too, and I think a lot of people might be. It's the woo woo, the foo foo, the head down to the crystal shop and manifest your dreams.
I said I wasn't talking about a specific type of person, Ken. Don't describe them further.
I'm sharing my experience. And
maybe they listen to Sublime. Maybe they, maybe.
I don't like to Santeria. Okay. When I emerged from therapy the first time around, I actually just had a conversation with my therapist about this. When I emerged from therapy that time around, the biggest thing that had happened is that I wanted to live. Going into therapy, I literally wanted to die. Held a loaded 45 to my head and prayed to God, give me the courage to pull the trigger. That happened in 2004, and I didn't. And the next day, I think 3 days later is when I started my therapy. When I emerged from that, that was gone. I want to live. Living can suck. I'm not where I want to be, blah, blah, blah. But I like the squirrels. I like the breeze on my face. I like a good slice of pizza. I want to live. But I thought that was the end. And I do think therapy can be, I still kind of think the goal is to get in, to get out, right? To have the tool shed at your ready, to have the tool belt, to have the rebel soldier, Sam Brown belt around your waist with all the tools you need to get through it. But I think I held on to that too much, and there were a lot of conversations in my life about not the wispy choose happiness, but just like, hey, when you're hurting yourself. Yeah. The way you talk about yourself is hurting, and self-loathing is my brand. If you've never seen the Drunk Movie Fights highlights of me, they made a drinking game about how much I talk shit about myself. That was why we all got drunk on that first Drunk Movie Fights. It's a funny thing, and I'm always going to have a part of that. I also think it's important for me to be the butt of the joke, so that we all can get on, and I don't feel like I'm attacking anyone, unless you're wearing polo shirts. Ethan, I'm looking at you. But I have learned in the last 6 to 8 weeks, Alden, that it is downright scientific about us as energetic beings who, if you wake up every day and say, I'm fucked, then you ain't getting out of it. And I was trying to communicate that to you yesterday, but I think at one point I was like, I'm not, because I know you're going through it. Now you can share whatever you want.
Sure.
I know you're going through it. And I know you got that feeling that we're fucked. And guess what? Yes, it's hard for me to tell you that. But if you wake up every day and that's the focus, it's going to be the focus. It's going to be the result. Yeah. And I do believe that is what has changed a lot for me in the last 6 to 8 weeks, being serious and transparent here. I don't know if I'm going to stay in this house. I can't pay rent for April right now. That's where I'm at. That's been kind of my battle last year since my life changed in May of last year. But up until this month, I have been, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to stay. Now I'm like, I'm going to stay, or I'm going to find another way. And things are starting to happen. And it's not like manifesting. It's just my focus, man. I'm clear. My mind is clear. The actual physical nerves, energy in my body is clear to find a solution. And that's the biggest change I have. So I just wanted to jump on there because I'm not going to try to sell you via text. Alden, grab a crystal and wish upon a star.
Yeah. Which, for the record, it was much better than that. And I didn't even receive it poorly. I almost received it. So I'll give some context because I don't really, it's not like there's some like secret, like salacious private thing. It's just, the world is horrible. My mental health is in the toilet. I'm aggressively making like music playlists until 6:30 in the morning. So it's like something ain't right, like I just, I'm thinking too much about, what order like Bikini Kill songs should fall. Like that's too much thought. You
should do
that. And honestly, everybody should listen to some old stuff like that. But I last week had, some of my friends know this, and again, not a big deal. It happens to a lot of people. But last week, in the middle of the week, I had a massive panic attack straight out of bed at like 6:40 in the morning. And I was going to try to thug it out, and I was going to try to do all my work for the day. And then I was like, you know what? I really shouldn't. And I just had this feeling of like, imagine transferring this into all the tasks that you have to do. Imagine being on the road. Like, just don't do it. So I had a big panic attack. and then called everything off, called out, and sat on the couch with my dog, watched a couple movies, fell asleep, nodded off, whatever. And then, good days, bad days. And you and I were talking, and I was and we do check-ins on each other just because it's a good thing to do. And you were checking in on me, and I did say that we're all fucked and everything, which I want to address. I'll get to that in a second, because I think there's an interesting doomer conversation happening right now. And you said, and there is an important distinction here, that you feel stronger, better than ever in the framing of capability, in the framing of control, in the framing of these things. You did not say, I feel happier than ever, which is a completely different thing. And I was more perplexed, not in the sense of I didn't believe you, but I said to you, I was like, I don't know how to square them. Like, I don't know how to know the objectivity elements of, like, this is going wrong, this is this number, this is this amount, this is owed, this is needed, and feel the control in myself. And I also, and in text and now, we have to always caveat, even though Ken and I are really good friends and we make a lot of jokes about an age gap, it is still life experience that I know that you have that I don't. And so that and that I have to acknowledge that I don't have it. That if I was 20 years older, I might be like, oh, totally. And maybe that is just the moment, the pressure cooker, the always growing up perceived. There's a lot that is the late millennial suffering too.
The flip side of that too, and a lesson for folks like me to use. Yes, I have 20 years life experience on you, and I can say, hey man, and that could accidentally become into come a little pat on the head, especially I think in state of the world stuff, right? Because I can be like, yeah, I know it's tough right now. I know the White House isn't on our side. Don't worry. You're like, I could accidentally swing into that.
Yeah.
I think it's important for people like me to hear your voices and those younger, because you are struggling through things similar to my struggles, or even struggles I have now, but the circumstances are different. How to get out of it is different. You know what I mean? Like, I think that is generational exchange. I think it's important for you to go like, Ken's been through it. And it's important for me to go like, I have to acknowledge that I grew up at a different time.
For sure. And it's already happening with my nephew. My nephew is 15. So hopefully we can clean some stuff up in the next few years before his first election cycle. And we will. We will. And he, out of nowhere, because everything moves faster and faster, he's sending me reels and saying, what do you think about this? He's sending me clips from things and saying, wow, it's so messed up that they're doing this. And I didn't expect it to happen so fast. And so I'm like, and sometimes I do have to see and hear, like, I'll have a gut reaction of like, oh God, like he'll send me something. And then I'm like, well, he doesn't know, I have to, find I have to listen for why is it valuable and all that. So generational exchange, very important to be aware of. The doom element of it all that I wanted to address, which is important to add in, is that people have a really hard time with it. Me and Jared and the guys from the Star Wars community, we've talked about it. It is hard, I think, sometimes for people who are on our side, people with good politics, people who are trying to fight for change, that are trying to keep their head up. They get sometimes, I think, and this is, I think, I'm just going to say it, it's a very blue sky, hall monitory lib sort of like attitude of, if someone like me goes on, and this hasn't happened to me, I'm just using myself as an example because I can only speak for myself and I know that I'm fiery and sassy. If I go on to Blue Sky and say something like, we're fucked, there will be people on our side who are like, man, I can't take it with your doomerism right now. I can't take it with your doomerism. All right. We need to keep it positive. We need to keep it. And then, sometimes I think of very like nasty retorts, like, yeah, keep it positive on the way to the train car, buddy. But at the same time, I also am like, we need to think also about like, how are we internalizing doomerism is, I think, the follow-up question that's really important. And what I mean by that is this: there are doomers that I do think are the problem, that are a different group than what I'm talking about. There are doomers that say it's all fucked and therefore why bother? That's a problem. Those are that's nihilism. That's doomerism. That's I'm not showing my face on here, but I'm just gonna post. Who cares? I'm just gonna post LOL like it matters, or things like that. That's doomerism. When I say we're fucked, there is an attached spite of, and I will never ever let them just fuck me, without taking me to dinner first. Like there is going to be always like if it is all fucked and we agree on that, doom to doom, if even the nihilist and I agree on that, why is their conclusion and therefore who cares? My conclusion is, well, then you better kill us. Like, shouldn't we just go down if it's all doomed? Like, I don't, and I think that viewpoint change, like spite is a powerful motivator. I say that as a joke, but also like if spite doesn't work for you, think about holding on. Like they don't want you to see the dancing on the other side. They don't want you to see the parties that we're going to have. They don't want you to see how we're going to laugh. They don't want you to see how we're going to bounce back. And that's a positive, that's a positive spite, like, hold it against them. Even when it gets into some of the stuff you touched on about our own lives and about people that come to these moments where they think maybe they don't want to be here anymore. I think back to Matt Fraction, who and people will remember has written for Marvel for a long time. He's currently actually writing Batman over at DC. He has been very open about his battle with suicidal ideation, different things. And he had a blog years back where he talked about making himself laugh when he thought he was going to end it all by shaving off half of his pubic hair in the mirror and just looking at himself, and then like sitting in the bath and kind of laughing and panicking and realizing like, oh, I'll never know what happens. And then you start naming silly things like, and I want to be clear. I'm fine. I'm 100% fine. I'm not lying. Ken can attest. I'm not in a place like that. But I did go down the road the other day of thinking like just about things that I can't panic attack every day because like, well, if I crash out, like who's gonna, well, the first thing is always who's gonna take care of my dog. That's the real one. But then the second thing is like, I'm not gonna see Mando and Grogu. I'm not gonna hear the second Chapel album. Like, I'm not gonna, like, are you kidding me? So it's like, that's why I can never even go down that road. I have too much FOMO in my soul.
It's also powerful. It's powerful. I had a Force Center listener years ago, Zach, and Zach passed away of rather aggressive cancer, too young, a couple years ago. And he had reached out to me, and I interviewed him on Force Center. The interview's still up, and he wasn't supposed to live much longer past the diagnosis, and he outlived it by years. And he had such a wonderful approach. I would almost get emotional if I tried to recall it or talk about it too much, but we had a great interview. And one of the things was like, the next Avengers absolutely keeps me alive. The thought of it keeps me alive, because those are things in life that we should enjoy and get to enjoy. The next slice of pizza, all things. I think it's pretty powerful. Regarding what you're talking about, the doomerism. Yeah, I think that's a good distinction. I think you're right about it. It's actually good for me to understand that even more from your perspective, not just specifically you, but overall. We got some great comments about. I'll pull up. That's kind of where I have ended up a bit of not just the positivity, but solutions. That's why I say solutions a lot. I get real frustrated sometimes with some of, I guess, what you'd call doomerism, but also just the screaming about it. Like I watch a lot of good. Like if I'm in the mood to get to listen to Mike Johnson be called Grinder, I will go watch I've Had It. I love I've Had It. But if I want to talk solutions, if I want to how do we get through this, I'll go to other channels. I'm blessed to work with Pat Conkey on Tuesdays, and I'm expanding my role there with him because he wants solutions. He wants substance. He's angry at Trump too. He's written two books about it. But like how do we actually move forward is important for me, especially as a voice, a small voice in this world. But I also think it's like my therapist said, she's talking to me a lot about thinking positive, changing my viewpoint. Every day I get up and I state what I want, but she's also like, I don't want you to lie to yourself.
Yeah.
That does nobody good. And so it seems to me that when you post those things, or when you wake up or you text me, I'm depressed and we're all fucked, those are facts, right? Those are facts. And we can work with facts. We can get past facts.
It's like, I don't want to speak for this person because I don't know them that well, but it's a mutual friend in the Star Wars space. So I'm not going to name them because, I just, I don't know how they'll feel about it. Very cool guy though, so I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem, but I just don't know them well enough. But he posted, very politically active guy, very, very similar views to myself, and was posting just about some things that were happening. We were talking a lot about what's going on in Kansas, which we should obviously address as like horrific Handmaid's Tale, nightmarish horseshit. Like they're coming for all the trans people's driver's licenses and the bathroom bounties, and it's just like Jesus Christ. But in that, we both talked about it. I talked about it. Gavin Newsom obviously is shitting the bed, and I'm not speaking for Ken on this, but I am firmly with Hassan Piker and Hannah Einbinder and everybody else speaking out on it is too early to just give someone the keys. We can still demand better. They work for us. Anyway, different conversation. I agree but we are discussing that. And then in between, pictures of his cat and dog came up, and it said, and there is still joy. And I was like, yes. And there has to be. Like, I have had moments of sheer panic over the last month or two. And then it'll be in those moments that, like, my dog will do the funniest thing. Or, like, my nephew will say something that is so completely out of pocket. Or, like, and it's very hard to hold both at the same time. It's very hard for me to say that, like, I've been having some of my most relaxed gaming and music related experiences while I've been having some of my most chaotic and frankly just like bad like life experiences. Like I can say factually and like demonstrably I'm worse off than I was in my early 20s. Like I had way more career momentum, I had more money, I had X, Y, and Z. But I also think I was a worse friend. I was probably pricklier and wasting more time about stupid. So it's not a binary. You will lose in some categories and gain in others, which I think is really hard sometimes. And I think that parsing your joy and your anger is hard too, where I am angrier and I think we're in probably the worst political state of my entire lifetime. I can't say ever because when my mom was born, there were still like, segregated water fountains, guys. So it's like we do need to be realistic about that. But I agree. At the same time, for my lifetime, it's like it's so bad. But I also have never been more energized by some of the stuff that I'm seeing. Like I can say for sure that there are people in Kansas that should for sure get French Revolutioned. But then in the same day, I am heartened by Zoran and everybody cleaning up the snow just because it's nice. Yeah. And it's hard to have both. It's exhausting.
It is hard. Yeah, I have no specific advice about that. Regarding some of the Doomer stuff, we've got some great comments. Jared the Dark Jedi on the Doomer side of things I've been struggling with a lot. I just finished Attack on Titan, a show that may be the ultimate Doomer text, and I gave myself hope by how much I rejected the final observations of the very, very Doomer protagonist. It gave me hope by seeing I could still reject deterministic Doomerism. Eli, nihilism is a scourge. Doomerism is with a hint of hope. ROTS energy is a powerful shit. I agree with that. Ethan Osvetnik, who yesterday I accidentally called Ethnic, and I think that's his new name. It's all falling down around us. It's okay to fall into doomerism once in a while, and you got to pick yourself up afterward, though, whatever that looks like. Yeah, and I think whatever that looks like is doing the great work in that comment, Ethan. That's kind of why it's what I talk about in terms of solutions, and even myself. And I think we'll get back to some of the direct therapy conversation. But the last 10 months, I don't go into details of it. I've been losing a job that has yet to be replaced on a level that it was, losing an 8-year relationship. I have been sliding to exactly the point you talked about, Alden. Right. Where I've wasted 25 plus years in LA. What I meant by that is I am right where I started with nothing. Can't even necessarily afford to go get a frozen burrito at the store. I'm not sure what my future is. Not sure how to get there. That was me at 22 moving to LA. And that's really depressing, right? However you get there, and this is our therapy conversation, I think it has to that's not true, not has to, but it can come from therapy, come from conversation or the shift of perspective. What has switched in me in the last 5-6 weeks is, specifically the last 2 weeks, is realizing I am not at the bottom. I'm on the first rung up. And that sounds so bumper stickery. But the moment you grasp it, and I talked about this on my show Monday. If you go on my own channel, guys, check out Monday Morning Show. I have my good friend Jason, who is a friend who every Tuesday now we go for about 7-mile walk, and we have just those conversations heart to heart.
Jason from the Hollywood Hills, from the walks.
Yeah.
Jason from the grass.
We cry, we laugh, we talk, we joke, we get angry, and a lot of things. It's been great, and it happened by, I believe we were friends 20 years ago in stand-up when we bumped into each other, and I believe it happened for a reason. But anyways, my point being, he had said this thing, and I'm going to share here in case anyone missed it. He's like on a 110-pound weight loss journey. Nice. He's down. He was like 310. He's like 190. And it was great, man. And he goes, yeah, I was once down to 170, and I ballooned back up. And again, body positivity, if you're happy with your weight, everything like that. I put those caveats out there because it's 2026. But, yes. And I said, oh, what was the difference this time around? And he said, well, instead of committing to eating better, I committed to diagnosing why I was eating bad in the first place. Mm-hmm. And the clouds parted in my head. That's what I've been doing. For the last 25 years, even with therapy, I was just eating better. But then that doesn't last, right? It doesn't last. You're going to lose a job. You're going to lose a relationship. You're going to fall for the next slice of pizza that you're trying to avoid. And if you can, and it's okay, by the way, but if you can diagnose why you continue to slide into those cycles and why you're in these cycles, then you take that first rung up. And I think that's kind of what I'm always trying to now maybe impart to those around you. And that for me has been a therapy journey one-on-one with a friend and a therapy journey in therapy. I don't know if that means anything, Alden. I just wanted to share.
No, that's really good stuff. I mean, you and I are big why people, right? Like that's our stock and trade is why, on and everything that we do. And I think that not to turn your friend's beautiful revelation into a plug for our own stuff, but we had that the other day talking about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, where I went on a little bit of I think that the male loneliness epidemic is a get out of jail free card for about 40 other problems. And that no one stops to think, well, how did we create an environment that can make them feel lonely? Did we ignore them? Did we not nurture? Did we blah, blah, blah? Like, there's so many things that you could follow up on. And for your friend, it's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing to myself, but like, what about my environment and my life and my soul and my wants and my sadness and there's so many things that will drive you to boredom. Has driven me to eat. Not having my friends around has driven me to eat. Like, because that's also been a struggle for me in my own life in different ways. Like, I have massively ballooned during COVID and tried to get some off, and it's a combination of all those.
It's time I wait. I was like, you have what? Oh yeah, no, I got you.
Oh yeah, well, just tying it into his problem specifically, but can you star Molly's comment that's just right here about productivity? I want to get to that one after.
Yes, I think that's great. You all got great comments. And also, these are great. Jason says Jason from the Grass sounds like a 90s sweet tea. Accurate.
Jason from the Grass. Yeah, exactly. The character from Hair. So let's start to go through.
Okay.
You can start anywhere you want in the ones because we're at 43 minutes. That'll be a nice way to cap.
Yeah. Okay. Great stuff today there. Jared says this. I have no reason to feel this way, but meds scare me. If I don't know if they help. I know they help so many people. So I'm learning to speak in internet. Jared says, I see no reason to feel this way, but meds scare me. I know they help so many people, Taylor included, his girlfriend, but it spooks me for some reason. I think that's an honest thing. Today, just 20 minutes before the show, I took my first med. Now, I've been taking pain pills. I've taken other things, this and that, but it's the first something for my brain. And that took 49 years. I mean, I wasn't offered them at 7, but you know what I mean? And I fought against it in the past. I've actively chosen against it. And when my therapist the first time around was like, I think you should go on. I can't remember what he wanted me to go on. Yeah. I've been against it, not in a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. way, but in the, I got this. I got this. Give me the tools. I got it. And I think the tools are important, but I got this. And that can work for some folks. So Jared, maybe meds aren't for you. Maybe if what you're talking about comes from a place of anxiety, that I don't have anything necessarily will soothe you, because there are side effects, as people have posted here in chat. Hey, it's not one med to fix it all. And in fact, the med they've suggested I go on, I looked into it, I talked to some folks. There was only one person that had a positive thing to say about it. Everyone else was like, no. So I chose to go with something else that's a little on the lighter end, just to see. But for me, if this helps at all, Jared, it was, like I said, I'm going to commit to something a little more long term in a way I haven't done in the past. So I have had many good stretches of time in the last 25 plus years in LA. And I've had bad ones. That's going to be the way of it, right? If the balance of the forces, there is light, there is dark, but the Jedi stand against those who push the dark unnaturally over the light. I need something to maybe stand between the light and dark for me when I am the one who unnaturally pushes the dark over my own light. That is the course of my life. I'm predisposed to pushing the darkness over my own light. So that's the choice I made, and we'll see. But I think, Jared, you're being very honest, and I don't think it's a bad thought. Look and see what's right for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, just to take your metaphor of Star Wars into a little bit of an even nerdier place that Jared and others will appreciate. There's a Jedi Council, right? And everybody's on the Jedi Council, and they all have different walks of life. One member of the Jedi Council literally cannot breathe the air in that fucking room unless he has a special attachment on his face, and that is Plo Koon. And everybody knows that he is no lesser for the fact that he literally needs medical equipment to do that job. That is a fact for his entire people. It is something that I'm sure he had to tinker with. And I think it's an underrated, they don't make a point of it, and maybe they should one day. That'd be a good story. But like, it's an underrated piece of like, there's a handicapped person on that. Like, the reality of his people is to be debilitated in some way. And he's there doing what he needs for himself.
That's great.
Plo Koon representation.
Which is why in Dave Filoni we trust, right? We should have just had Molly on the show. Molly Davis, great. The journey of starting new medication is daunting, but you got to start somewhere. I think that's encouraging and true. This is the comment you said earlier, Molly. I try to look at everything through a lens of how is this productive and how can I be productive in regards to living a happy, healthy, and balanced life. Too much doom and gloom isn't productive. So that's a great comment. But you wanted that up.
I wanted to respond to that, not because I disagree with it, but because it exposed. So Ken has learned in some recent conversation that I'm a little bit of a psychopath, which some of you probably already gathered. But meaning that like the angles by which I approach things sometimes surprise even myself. And I read that and I completely understood it, but it gave me anxiety. And it's not because of Molly, and it's not because of what she said. It's because I see the word productivity and it gives me the same like quickened heart rate that I felt when I left an essay for the night before in high school. And that is my own fault. But I wanted to point it out because that's a hill that I've had to climb in my mental health journey. I'll give you an example. Over the last few months of 2025, I made the mistake of letting a small, angry brunette into my life that I should not have done. I was weak and foolish, like my father, and I allowed.
Fictional character or
no, a real person? You know what I'm talking about. I decided that I was gonna forgive and blah blah blah, and then said be vulnerable, and that person, that's a whole thing. But that person is a very like knows the exact amount of protein that's in everything they eat, has a schedule for everything, blah blah blah, and that and she would tell me like, oh, well, you should do this. You should set these goals. You should say this for yourself. And I had to tell them, I was like, look, I get it. But if I turn these things that are for me into feeling like work, into feeling like an assignment, it will deflate it for me. And I've said this to you too about like, because you've been, we should start the wrestling podcast, or that should be your first video about AEW. That should be your thing. And I'm like, and I've told you, I'm like, Ken, if I take another thing that is just about me and turn it into work, it's gonna make me have less fun. And then we all rotate. That's you had that a little bit with Ice and Fire, and then you took that time off, and now you're back. Like, obviously that's a cycle.
To be clear, that makes that's because sometimes I just want to grab you by the collar of the polo shirt you're not wearing and just say, fucking make things, man, because you're good at this. And why are you fucking sitting in your room when you got a mini computer in your hand? Fucking make things. But I have to understand exactly what you're saying. This is a good conversation. Now I'm not going to text you that. I'm not going to text you that anymore.
No. You could do it all the time. I and also on the record with witnesses that are in this chat, sometimes you've been like, give me the kick in the ass. And I will go to other people and be like, Ken gave me the kick in the ass. And he's right. So you're right. But I we'll have that moment of like, oh, it's work. So I see Molly's there, and I'm jealous of her. I mean, I'm jealous of her for a lot of reasons. I also wish that I was like
jealous of Molly for her hair and her dark mall shirts.
I was just about to say that. I was about to say I wish I was a cool redhead. That was the first thing I was gonna say. So it's like, so I hear productivity, and I'm like, oh no, but that means I can fail. That means I can lose, and that's a me fear thing. So that's just something I wanted to point out for anyone else that might have it.
But Molly offers a great, again, we should have just booked Molly on the show and just asked her about her hair care routine. Molly says, when I use the term productive, I like to think of it as emotionally productive, not necessarily completing a task. And I actually think I would text that back to you now with a little bit more clarification. And maybe Molly and I should just get on a thread and yell at you. I think I totally agree with what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, because I'm the kid that I could wait till the morning of my paper being due at school and I get an A+. And the teacher would go, you're the best. You don't even have to do work anymore. Like, I had an economics teacher that would just sit and have lunch with me and another friend and talk shit about all the jocks, because she's like, they never amount to anything. You guys are the ones that amount to anything. But guess what? I didn't really amount to anything. So I guess I should have opened up a car dealership with the quarterback.
The gifted kid pipeline, man. Like, there's so many of us that we were friends with our teachers. My guy, I text my high school English teachers like they're my girlfriends, even though, like,
sorry, you just made me drop water out of my mouth.
I need to rephrase that. I do not text them like they're my girlfriends. I text them like we are girls.
Okay, you text your old teacher like, yes, slay queen, versus
we text
hey,
like,
you want to meet up. You want to meet up
oh
for
my god,
okay, that's hilarious.
Yeah, like, I was texting one of them the other day, and I was like, I bet you're glad you're teaching Handmaid's Tale, right? And she goes, well, I'm not teaching it this year. She's like, I don't have the fucking patience for that. Like we go back and forth, we joke, we still keep in touch, but it is the full on Kingsport Cal. You couldn't handle that. Don't even manifest it. But the whole thing is just like it. But what did it result in, right? It resulted in burnout. It resulted in growing up too quickly. It resulted like, I too could also score an A+ 100%, even extra credit on the fucking bus ride over. If it was a third period thing, I could do it in first and second period. I could do it.
Yeah.
And the teachers would be like, it's no work for you. But it was. Like, it was an anxiety attack every time. I was microdosing struggle. I think back to a quote that Philip Seymour Hoffman gave about his approach to acting, where he said he has to manufacture crisis. And he was, we can analyze his life as unfortunately a story completed way too soon. And he was an addict and everything. So it's like, you could put his words in that context, but he said, I have to manufacture crisis. And I did that to myself too. I would leave 9-week-long quarter projects for the last week, and then tell my teachers bullshit lines like diamonds are made under pressure, which they were a lot of the time.
That's a fair spiel to them. This is all fine. I don't want to drift, if I may. I don't want to drift too far. What Molly said, I think Molly said was a great clarification. You were correct to talk about productivity. Me yelling at you, going, start your goddamn podcast. I don't care how many graphics you have. You have a computer in your hand, fucking film it. Is different from what I think Molly was talking about. It is what Molly's talking about is emotional maturity, emotional self-care, and doing it in a way too that also includes empathy and compassion for others. One of my little pet peeves, if I may share a pet peeve, is when someone is like, well, I'm blank, or I have blank, then therefore you must do, your entire life must be built around dealing with my shit. And that drives me a little crazy. If I'm being blunt, and it's 2026, so I try to be careful, but that kind of shit drives me crazy. Because we still got function here. We're still trying to, as best we can, run a society.
You must subscribe to the $50 tier to get Anytime Dark Woke. That's gonna be behind 5 different paywall links, highest level of security, and never be broadcast.
And Molly's being productive with microdosing. Struggle is a great catchphrase. Anytime merch. I might have to, I have to pay Brian Ward to do some good font, and we'll make $12 on Fourth Wall. Anyways, I'll say we also go, and we do have to. I got to get ready for Force Center soon, but this is great. We'll continue this conversation. Brady has said something. I love Brady. I've had the chance to hang out with him in person many times. He's been so generous to come to my shows and Joseph and I shows. Just one of my favorite individuals. And he's a youngin', and he's so smart. He doesn't know half the things that we would think someone in pop culture worlds would know, but he's just weird. Important to remember, you can't hate yourself into a better society. Helping yourself will help the whole. We're not simply individuals. We're all connected. Very Phantom Menace there. But I do believe that's also some of the stuff. When you say things like protect your joy, I understand cynicism. I have cynicism at that. But timeline clans, like, I get it. I get the snark towards that. Yeah. But I think that what Brady's speaking is the powerful truth behind that. And sometimes you need the arm pull up. Sometimes you're the one pulling up the arm. And I think that's a lot about what Molly's talking about too. I don't want to speak for Molly. But the emotional productivity is more simply than I'm going to protect my peace. It's like, what is good for building me? And what am I doing sometimes to step in front of it? And I have been stepping in front of myself for 25 years. And I'm stepping around myself to align with my authentic self, to perform things out of abundance, not scarcity, which are these buzzy, therapy words, but they're real. So great comment, Brady. I think that's a good one.
That's a great comment. And you went Phantom Menace. I thought to myself, what if Han had walked out on that bridge and said, "Kid, you can't hate yourself into a better society"? Kylo would have been like, "You're right.
Got it.
You're right. I'm coming back."
And we can't. And you look, here's another thought, man. This is up for maybe philosophical debate, and this is in general terms because there's some horrible people in the world, past, present, and future. But like, there was a conversation I had this week about there are no mistakes, only lessons. Now, again, you could throw out a political leader and say, yeah, that's a mistake. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about in general our own lives. If you can follow me down that path, that's a framework, that's a perspective that I think I've aligned with in a way I wouldn't have in the past. Me failing myself and staying in a job that nearly killed me. I'm no longer look at it as a mistake. I'm going to look at it as the part of the journey. And it seems simple. It seems bumper stickery, but it has helped me. It has helped me and provided me confidence to know that this point where I'm in right now, where the struggle is real, and I'm not alone in that, struggle is real, I'm confident that this is the right spot. And if that makes sense, I'm building from there.
Look, man, you have done a live performance throughout your entire career. And in one of those forums, I'm going to say it, get ready, it's professional wrestling. And as I'm sure you have been told, and as I'm sure you have told others, as I have heard 1,000 times in all the documentaries, as you have too, if you're running to the ring and something happens, like you trip, guess what? You meant to trip. Like you meant to do that. If the crowd goes this way, guess what? They're right. Like what they're feeling is right. Like the moments and the circumstances will be unexpected sometimes, but they are going to be the ones that you're working with. They're going to be the right ones. And also, we're an hour into this. I did a Harrison Ford voice. We have completely failed to mention there is a wonderful series on air right now where Harrison Ford is a therapist.
I have to watch it. I've yet to watch it. I've yet to watch it.
So good, guys. We're halfway through season 3. Really, really great show. Shrinking on Apple. Everybody check it out.
I've got to. I'm gonna have to for reasons you and I are gonna talk about off air. Oh, I can't. I'm teasing some tea. It's just great.
You know what? I'm done with I'm done with these people. I want to get
done. Brett and Mars is someone who's been to therapy many times because it's absolutely necessary. I agree with that. Gotta watch Shrinking. Yeah, I do. You ever have just one of those nights where you're locked in conversation with someone and you're staring into their eyes for hours and it's going great, Alden, and then you say, "Oh yeah, I've never seen Shrinking," and then you see their eyes go dead. Have you ever had that kind of pop culture moment? Just like, "Oh yeah, I've never seen that movie." Yeah, okay. I gotta watch
a little. I could think of some relevant examples. Or I could, but usually it's on the opposite end, like when you find out, like, oh, I've never seen, Lord of the Rings or anything. But then you get the excitement of like, let me show you the thing. But then even that is we could do a whole show on that.
Oh yeah, no. Again, there's no mistakes. There's no mistakes.
But to show somebody something is an emotional labor. That's a big thing for me. Like. There's that. I wish I could credit the gentleman. I should have gotten his name, but there's a stand-up bit that's going around Instagram that I saw. That is, the bit is like he's saying, if I show you something, and you get up to use the bathroom, and I say, "Do you want me to pause it?" and you decline, I hate you. and I really do feel that way. If I'm showing you something and you check your phone, Oh,
yeah, I get
gives me the heebies.
Look, Jared saying DS9 will make you feel good. This is why Jared and I just won't be able to date. I'm not gonna watch DS9. I'm gonna watch the pilot. I owe everyone that.
There is a way. I tell you guys, there's a path, but you're not taking the right path. He needs to watch Strange New Worlds. That is the one that will get kind of like Star Trek more.
It's fetch ain't gonna happen. Molly says, "If that's right, could you imagine if Alex Damon, said, yeah, Molly, have you ever seen Star Wars?" And she went,
yeah. No.
What world we would live in right now? I would not know the name of the third dancer in Jabba's palace.
That's true.
Timeline was split.
If that had split the timeline, then there wouldn't be people to grift by putting their channel name in other video names. And then less people. Maybe we should go back and stop Molly from seeing Star Wars because it would cripple the rest of the space. Like, that's a price we're willing to pay.
Maybe we should.
Maybe we have to give up the joy. Maybe we have to let Molly go into Valinor. That way we can all have peace here. We need to let her go. Giving us too much.
Interesting. I think this is just the first part of a conversation about this. I enjoy having these kind of conversations. I hope you all did too. So great stuff, Alden. Do you feel any better?
Yeah, actually, I mean, a little bit. Like, it comes and it goes. Like, I'll get through this weekend, then Monday I'll crash out again.
Sure.
But then, but that's
I'm not fixed. I'm not fixed.
Exactly. Like, you just have to know that it's about today. And
yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm going to leave you and the audience on this.
Yes.
What you're describing, I think, can best be confronted with the simple thought of challenge the thought. So when you wake up or you're going to bed or it's 6 a.m. and you're making your 19th playlist and you have this bad thought, whatever it is, challenge the thought. What is it? Where is it coming from? Why am I thinking that? How can I get out of it? Is it true? Am I lying to myself? Is that my actual situation? Challenge the thought is one of the most important tools I think you can have on your belt.
And I would add to that by saying, and this is for myself, Ken, and everybody who needs to hear it, do not romanticize your melancholic solitude. That is a meme that goes around sometimes. It'll be like a picture. It'll be like a picture of like Saul Goodman or Batman or like Guts from Berserk or Jon Snow.
Yeah.
Apologies. There are people coming into the house right as we're closing. So, but yeah, I mean, don't romanticize. Don't be like, my role is the loner or my role is the sad one or anything. They're made up. You could be more than one thing.
Alden, that's the thing. The big lesson in my therapy this week was drop your branding. Drop your branding. And I have branding. I have some of it's fun. Hating polo shirts is part of my fun branding now, but it's not the real core of me. But like, drop your personal branding. There is a song by Josh Joplin of Josh Joplin Group, released out 2001 called "I've Changed." It's one of my favorite songs of all time. It is a trigger warning of a song. It is about an attempt at a successful attempt on life, self-attempt. And if I listen to it, it feels so good. I race right back to that spot because that was my branding for a long time. So it's dangerous. Be careful out there. Hold yourself, hold others, reach out, go for a walk, do the things. I'm a loner, Dottie. A rebel, says Alan Smithy. I think that's good. All right, that's it for now. Alden, say goodnight.
Goodbye, y'all. See you next week.